getting my whiteboard because I think it's necessary, but I need to wipe all of my notes off. I don't think I need to tell you how important time is, but if you have read the book 4,000 Weeks, then you will know how valuable our time is and just how little time we have, but also how important it is to make the most of the time that we do have. You can do anything, but you can't do everything, and especially not all at once. Realize this, and your time management will become so much easier, because right now you're probably trying to do like a million things at once, and I have been there. I'm a multi-passionate person. I want to do YouTube, I want to do shorts, I want to do Instagram, I want to run my own business, I want to create content, I want to spend time with friends, I want to gym, I want to do absolutely everything. But the reality is that we can't have everything and be everything all at the same time. But we can have anything we want, just at different stages of life. And this is where our priority layers come into play. Now, there are different levels and stages of life where you have to prioritize different things. If you're studying right now, then that will probably be high on your priority list. If you are applying for jobs right now, then your career will be high on your priority list. It will be taking up the most brain space in your head, and it will be taking up most of your time. A practice that I did a while ago, which really helped me to manage my time better, was to think of what my priority layers are. I thought of my priorities as different layers, like an onion, shall I say. I like to think that we have around 6 life categories. Now, if you've done practices like this in the past, you might have seen that some people have 8 and sometimes you can have 12. This you can break down as you wish, but right now we have relationships, finances, business/career, personal development, mental, physical health, and just personal in general. These are the 6 life categories that I usually go by when I am setting yearly goals or setting monthly goals, etc. So I'm going to use this to create our layer of priorities. The reason why I'm talking about this in a time management video is I'm going to give you like 5 incredible tips and tricks to manage your time better. But if we don't understand what our priorities are right now, then our time is going to be sporadic and it's going to be spaced out everywhere, and we're not going to understand where we should be putting the most time into what aspect of our life. And that's when we end up spending lots of time doing lots of things, but then seeing no results, and especially no results in an area of life that we really want to work. So I'm going to lay out my priority layers as to what mine is right now in my life, and then I will show you. But I imagine that most of you watching this, it's either your physical health or your personal development, or it might be business and career. That's like the vibe that I get, and that's definitely kind of in line with what my focuses are right now. But it could be to work on the relationship you have with your family. It could be to work on making better friends. It could be any of these life categories, and this is how I'm going to lay it out. I have kind of diagrammed what my priority layers are right now, and what I want you to do is actually reflect on what yours are right now, how you are living right now versus how you want them to be. So this is how I want mine to be, but I also think it really matches up with how I'm living my life right now. Whatever's in the middle is the most important, and that's what you are really focusing on right now. This doesn't mean that all of these others have none of your time and none of your love and none of your energy. It just means that they have less to what's in the middle, because what is in the middle is what you are really prioritizing and focusing on right now. So whether that is, like we said, the relationship with your family that you want to work on, maybe it's your studies that you really want to focus on, maybe it's business, career, maybe you want to start a business, maybe you want to get a new job. Whatever that is going to be taking up the most of your time, and the rest are going to be taking up less and less and less of your time. For me, the middle, as you can see, is finances. I am in my early 20s, and right now I still really want to get that security with my finances, that I feel extremely confident to live and be wherever the hell I want. And that comes down to finances and business. Those are my 2 middle layers where I spend a lot of my time and a lot of my energy right now, and that is how I want it to be. Then I have personal development. Then I have physical health and personal development, because right now I have started doing like calisthenics, so I'm really focusing on my physical health. So that's my third layer. Personal development, reading, learning new information, growth, all of those things. Then I have relationships. So my relationships are not really in the, high up on my priority layers right now. I have some incredible friends, but I don't feel like it needs so much of my time. And I'm not prioritizing making new friends. Whereas when I first moved to Sweden, my friendships and my relationships were very much centered in the middle, and I had to make more time for that because that was one of my priority layers, one of my biggest priority layers. The last one, we have personal. Now, personal is what you buy for yourself and what you do for yourself, because when I'm setting my yearly goals, it's like buying this for me and then like going on this trip and things like that. So that's kind of what I categorize in personal, but if you want to like reword that as something else, then go ahead. But do this practice and do what your current priority layers are versus what you want them to be, because they might not be matching up right now. And we're doing this first before we get into like time management techniques, so that we know where we want to invest most of our time. Are you somebody who gets more done when you have a lot to do and when you're more stressed? Or are you somebody who needs that mental and physical space to get more done? This is just a question that I want you to reflect on, because for me, sometimes when I'm super busy, I am my most productive because my calendar and my schedule is full. I don't like to live like that all the time, but sometimes that means that I am my most productive and I'm getting so much done. Whereas if my calendar is blank and I don't have a lot to do, I can take hours and hours and hours on one task because I have nothing that's like stopping me and minimizing my time. So reflect on whether you are more productive in those chaotic times, or whether you suffer with overwhelm and doubt and that doesn't work for you, or whether you are more productive when you have that more time and you have that space and you have that like mental and physical space. My biggest time management tip for you is when you get home, do not sit down and check your phone. It sounds so simple, but when you get home from a long day out, you feel like you have so much to catch up on, right? Because so much happens on IG or so much is happening in the group chat, and you feel like, I can finally sit down and I can finally catch up on everything. Now, you might not be wrong, you might have things to genuinely catch up on, but how often is it that you get home, maybe you sit on the couch, maybe you sit in the kitchen, you check your phone just to check up or just to reply to a few messages, and 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours goes by, you're still sitting there in the same clothes, you haven't showered, you haven't taken yourself to the gym, you haven't cooked yourself a nice meal, and all you have done is been consumed by social media. This is what is eating up your time without you even realizing. It's literally stealing time from your day, and you think that it's for you, and you think that it's a good thing. You think that you're catching up, and this is what these mobiles have made us feel like. It's like, yeah, but I'm doing it for me, and I'm catching up, and I get to like be social and connect with people. No, you don't. Not really. That's not how these things work. If you really wanted to be productive with your time, and if relationships are your priority, you would organize to see your friends in person, and when you are with them, you will be totally 100% present with them. You're not going to be wasting your alone time scrolling, watching their Instagram stories, feeling like you know what they're doing, feeling like you know what's happening in their life and you know how they're feeling, when, come on, we all know that Instagram stories are only like 50% of what's actually happening in somebody's life. When you get home, I want you to do the stuff that you say you're going to do straight away. If you are working on a side hustle right now, or if you just genuinely have things that you want to do outside of work and you feel like you have no time, I want you to get home, shower, and start the day again. I know that it's not always possible to do this every single day, depending on what your priorities are, depending on what your lifestyle is. But I know that for me, when I was working and then I also was building a business, I would finish work, shower, do a quick meditation, freshen myself up, even brush my teeth, and then start the day again. which would either mean going to the gym, it would either mean sitting down at my desk and doing some work. It just totally refreshed my state of mind. Whereas if I was going home and if I was scrolling on my phone and just checking in on things, I'm totally lost, I'm totally consumed, and I'm lost, and I'm usually leaving my phone. You can probably relate to this. You usually leave your phone feeling worse than you did before you checked it in the first place. Don't do that scrolling, but even give yourself time to scroll, because I know that we all like scrolling and we all like watching skits and funny things or just watching stories and whatever. And it might sound a bit crazy, but actually schedule in that time. We're talking about time management here, and if your phone is the biggest thing that sucks time away from you, schedule in your scrolling time. This can be when you are commuting. It can be before you go to bed if you really want it to be. It can be during your lunch break. Whenever like you feel like that you have a bit of a time frame and it's not going to suck, you know, your life out of you, it's not going to affect your productivity throughout the day, that is when you can give yourself time to scroll and to binge and to just catch up on things. But when you get home, don't do it. When you get home after a long day, that is when you do things for you first. Google Calendar and Notion. Now, when it comes to managing my time, I have a Notion weekly planner template, which I will give you access below, so you can sign up and just get that template. But I use a Notion weekly planner and then I use Google Calendar. And this is how I manage my weeks and my days, because Google Calendar is, you know, it's the best. It gives you notifications before things are happening. It allows you to schedule meetings and you can put everything in. It's just a very nice layout. And then Notion is where I have my list of things that I need to do, because my Google Calendar is more like timings. You know, when I have a class at 12, I have a meeting at 1, I have this at 2, blah, blah, blah. And then Notion is, okay, but I have to email this person, I have to send this, I have to do this. It's more like a list of things that I need to do. And having these two go hand in hand is perfect for getting the most from my time. Every single Sunday, I will plan my week. And I really want you to do this too. Every single Sunday, just give yourself 20 minutes. It does not have to take long. 20 minutes for you to have your week planned so that you're not stressing and scheduling things throughout the week is so worth it. So what I will do is I will go in on my weekly planner, and this is what it looks like. I'll probably put a screen recording here, but it's cute and it looks like a weekly planner and it's very nicely laid out. And then I will also have my Google Calendar opened on a separate tab, and then I will make sure that my meetings that are in Google Calendar are also in my Notion and vice versa, so that my week is just nicely laid out and nicely planned. And to even elevate your productivity for the weeks, you can also reflect on the week. You can also set, you know, mini goals for the week. And this is a great way to just get the most from your days and your weeks. My third tip to managing your time is doing your activities with your friends or your family. But if you have the gym and you also want to socialize and you don't want to neglect your friendships, do a 2-in-1. When I co-work with my friends, when I gym with my friend, this is so perfect for my time management because I'm getting a 2-in-1. I don't feel like I am gymming and then I'm neglecting my friendships because I'm spending so much time in the gym, and I don't like. If you have friends who also like the things that you like, then bring it together and manage your time in that way. You're a busy person, that's why you clicked on this video, so do a 2-in-1. Set alarms. I think it's Eric Partaker was in an Ali Abdaal podcast episode, and I think it was him. It could have been someone completely different. But what he did is he set alarms for like different stages of the day, depending on the type of person that he wanted to show up as. So you can set alarms for like, okay, business mode. You know, business mode is like Katie or something is coming into play, you know, like at 9 a.m. that is what's happening. At 12, you set another alarm that's like chill. Then at 1, again, business. Like, if you set alarms on your phone that remind you of the person that you should be, the person that you should show up as in that moment, it can be really powerful to remember, oh yeah, so if I'm in business mode right now, what does she do? What do they do? How do they show up? A life example, if you haven't seen my deep work video, then you won't know that I usually do my deep work between like 7 a.m. and 12. It can be 8 till 11, 8 till 12, something like that. So in that mode, I am like business focused Frida. You know, I am not fun, best friend, sarcastic gym girl Frida, but I am business. I'm like, I run a business and I'm focusing right now to provide my clients with the best service possible. That's the person that I am. In the afternoon, I can be more like flexible, I can be more fun, I can be like, you know, a different Frida. And if you struggle with like separating those two kind of personas or different personas that you have, set alarms on your phone and have them go off, and then that will remind you who you are showing up as right now. If you are a parent, this is what Eric mentioned, if you are a parent and at 5 p.m. you want to be the best mum ever or the best dad ever, that is when you set an alarm for like world's greatest mom, and that is who you show up as. You're no longer that business person, you're no longer, you know, whoever else you were before then, but now you are just that persona. The reason why this is so great for managing your time is because then you're not letting things spill over. And the biggest reason why we don't have time to do what we like is because when we're working, we're not only working, but we're also thinking about what we should be doing with our family, thinking about what we could be doing with our friends, you know? And then when we're out with friends, we're thinking about all the work that we could be doing. And therefore, we're not getting the most from our hours and the most from our days. So when you set these alarms, you start to get the most you can from your time. My fifth thing, and it might be the hardest, but it is actually, it's like the hardest and the easiest, depending on how disciplined you are. But say no to things that don't align with your middle or your second priority layer. If right now you are really focusing on that priority layer and it's something you need to fix, it's something you need to sort out, whether it's your physical health or your finances, something like that, and then a friend asks you to spend a whole day out on a Saturday or Sunday or Monday evening, and you're like, this doesn't align with my priority layer, are there better things that I could do that align with my priority layer right now rather than doing that? And if so, learn to say no to what doesn't align with your priority layer. Your priority layers, they shift and they move as life goes on. I usually reflect on mine every month, every 3 months. Usually they end up moving every 3 months, not every month. Every 3 months. And that's when you can start to say yes and no to other things. But right now, learning to say no to what isn't in line with your priority layer will help you get to your goals faster. Because you are delaying some gratification, you're doing some short-term sacrifices based on your priority layer, and that's where you are making better decisions, you're managing your time better, you're not suffering from FOMO because you made the decision to say no because it's best for you and your future. And when you no longer start to get FOMO, you no longer start to wish you were somewhere else, this saves so much time because so much of your time is spent wishing that you were somewhere or thinking the grass could be greener. I have 2 practical tips to share with you now that I have learned recently, I have implemented and work very well for me in managing my time. The first thing is not saying yes or no straight away. If I'm on the phone with a friend and they ask me, what are you doing on Sunday? Can you do this? Can you come out with us, me and my friends? I always say, I am going to check. I will check and let you know. I will check in my calendar what's happening and get back to you. This gives me breathing room to think. It gives me space and time to think whether I actually want to do that. And it also does allow me to actually check my calendar to see if it does fit in, if it fits in with my priority layers, if it fits in with my life right now. And also, I am a people pleaser. I find it so hard to say no to my friends and the people that I love the most. And if you are like this, then just making a vow to yourself that you will not say yes or no in the moment, but you will wait and you will check. The second thing is something that I got from Ali Abdaal. Again, I feel like I always mention him, but it is to create your dream week. So he mentioned this in a podcast, and I think he was a guest on the High Performance podcast. Yeah, I think that was the episode. I will link it somewhere. And what the practice is it is to create a separate Google Calendar. So when you're on Google Calendar, you can create like a separate calendar that's blank, and create your dream week within that. Now, I did that, and it really helps you to figure out how you actually want to spend your days, how you actually want to spend your time, who you want to spend your time with, and then you can start to change your life in small ways to aspire to have that dream week schedule. So for example, if actually you want to wake up at 9 in the weekdays, if you want to wake up at 10, if you don't want to have meetings in the mornings, or if you want to get all your work done, then you want to have your afternoons free, if you want to do morning classes, whatever your dream week is, plan that out in Google Calendar so that you can see it. And then once you plan that out and you know what your ideal dream week is, then you can start to work towards that in your life. And that might be like, oh, if I really want to live life like this, then maybe I need to get a new job, or maybe I need to start saying no to that, or start saying yes to that, start doing more of this. That's a really good practice to do to help you understand how you actually want to spend your time in the long run. I'm going to end the video here. Please do your priority layers, and I recommend doing it on a whiteboard because it's so satisfying, or at least doing it on, you know, a piece of paper in your journal or something. And yeah, figure out what is most important to you right now and how can you cultivate your life around what's the most important in your life right now. I really hope you enjoyed this time management breakdown video. I didn't expect it to be this long. I really thought it was going to be one of my quicker videos. Sorry. But let me know what you thought in the comments. Have a beautiful day, week, month, life, and don't forget to watch my recent video on bouncing back from low moments, lazy lifestyle, and lack of motivation. Bye! If you feel like you have the skills but you don't have, if right now you feel like